Hello friends, schoolsteps.in welcomes you again. In this tutorial, we'll talk about installing Android Studio and Android SDK and be ready to work on the VR programming. To install the Android Studio on your machine, you need to install the Java Development Kit on your machine first. You can download the JDK from java.oracle.com. Let me show it to you. Once you open java.oracle.com, it will redirect you to this particular link. Now you need to click on the Java SE, which is right here under the top downloads. Here you need to look for JDK downloads, which is right here. You need to click on it. And right here you get the option to download JDK for different operating systems. The installation of JDK is very straightforward. After you install JDK on the Windows, you need to set java_home and path variables in the environment variables. To achieve this, you need to right click on the computer icon and click on the properties. Please make sure that you do not click on the shortcut of the My Computer. You need to click on the computer icon and you need to click on the properties. It will give you this particular window and you need to click on the advanced system settings, which is right here. Once you click on it, it will give you this window, and under the advanced tab, you will get environment variables, which is right here. You need to click on it. Once you click the environment variables, you will get this window, and under the system variables, you need to create java_home. If you are doing it for the first time, this will not be visible on your machine. You need to click on new and you need to give the variable name as java_home and you need to give the value as the path to the JDK installation folder. This path is one level up to the bin folder. Next, you need to look for the path variable. This should already be existing in your machine. Double click on it and it will open the path variable in the edit mode. Now right here, you need to give the path of the JDK installation folder /bin separated by a semicolon. So with this, we are done with the JDK installation on the Windows machine. If you are using Mac machine, on Mac machine, after installing Java, when you run the Android Studio, there could be a message Java not found. The reason is that Android Studio by default looks for Java 6, and if you have installed any other version, for example Java 7, then you may get this error. To resolve this, go to the Android Studio package inside the applications folder. Right click on it and choose show package contents. It will show you a folder with the name contents. Double click on the folder and open the folder. Look for the file info.plist. Open the file info.plist with any text editor and search for JVM version. Just below the JVM version, you will get a tag with the name string mentioning 1.6*. All you need to do is to change the 1.6* as per your installed JDK version. So say for example your JDK version is 1.8. All you need to do is to change it to 1.8*. Then go back to your application folder and run the Android Studio again. It will run for you. The next one is the JDK installation on Ubuntu machine. I would request you to go through this link if you want to install JDK on the Ubuntu machine. Now let's talk about installing Android Studio. So once you are done with the JDK installation, you need to install the Android Studio. To install the Android Studio, you need to go to this particular link. Let me show it to you. Here is the link to download the Android Studio. You can click on download Android Studio and it will give you the options to download Android Studio for different operating systems. Now all you need to do is to download and install. Once you open the Android Studio, you will get the welcome screen. On the left hand side, you will get recent projects. If you are opening Android Studio for the first time, this window will be blank. Now you need to look for configure. If you are opening it for the first time, click on configure. Now go to the SDK manager. This will open SDK manager for you. Before we discuss SDK manager, let's have a look at a very important link. This link refers to creating and running a wearable application, and right here under the update your SDK we have two major points. The point number one is update your SDK tools to the version 23.0.0 or higher. The second point is that update your SDK with Android 4.4 W.2, which is API level 20 or higher. Further, it says the updated platform version provides new APIs for the wearable apps. So on my machine, 4.4 W.2 is installed, and in fact very recently I have updated my machine to 5.0.1. Let me show you my SDK manager. Here is my SDK manager. On my machine, multiple APIs are installed. Let's see what is required for you. The first one is the SDK tools. You need to have the most recent version of SDK tools. Second one is the platform tools. Again, you need to have the most recent version of platform tools. Third one is the build tools. Again, you need to have the most recent version of build tools. So in brief, you need to have the most recent version of these three. There are some old versions on my machine. You can ignore these. So the next one is Android 5.0.1, which is API level 21. Under this, first one is the documentation. I would recommend you to install it. Second one is the SDK platform. This one is required. Third one is the samples for SDK. I would recommend you to install these. Next two are Android TV system images. Ignore it. Now next two are system images for Android Wear. First one is the ARM and the second one is the Intel x86. These are the two different architectures. Intel x86 is definitely faster as compared to ARM. These system images are required to run the Wear emulator. You don't need to install both. You can have only one. If your system supports both, you can go ahead and install both. But with one emulator, you will be able to use only one system image at a time. Next three system images are for mobile emulator. You can install one or more depending on your requirement, but you need to have at least one system image to run the mobile emulator. Again, these three system images have different architectures. Next on my machine is Android L. You can completely ignore it. Next on my machine is Android 4.4 W.2, which is API level 20. So as we have already installed Android 5.0.1, we do not need this one. One more thing I want to convey is that Android 4.4 W.2 is the SDK for wearable applications. More than half of the tutorials in this series are made using this SDK. Later I upgraded to 5.0.1. If this SDK is already installed on your machine, I would highly recommend you to upgrade to 5.0.1. Let's move further. You can ignore Android 4.4.2. Now let's move to extras. Under the extras, two very important things that we'll be needing is one is the Google Play services and the other one is the Google repository. You need to make sure that these two are installed on your machine. There will be multiple tutorials in which we'll be using the Google Play services, and further Google repository. It contains the wearable files. If you want to know in detail about Google repository, I would request you to go through our tutorial on how to run Wear programs on Eclipse. Now these two are the Android support repository and Android support library. So if you are working on a mobile module, it depends what kind of versions do you want to support and what kind of features do you want to provide in your mobile module. Generally, if you are working on the Android Studio, we install Android support repository instead of Android support library. But you can install both. Friends, with this I take your leave. Thank you so much. Please like our page on facebook.com/letsandroid. If you have any query, do write us at info@schoolsteps.in or schoolstepsin@gmail.com. Thank you.